Once again, most of the games I played this year didn't come out in 2025. Did I go back to Dragon Quest XI like I said I would? Nah, did I fuck. I will though, I will at some point. I'm determined for it not to become that thing that sits on my hard drive half done. Though I can't see where that time's coming from at the moment. I did get around to playing Sonic Frontiers, which is definitely a Sonic game, but it has a really bizarre tone. Sonic is alone, totally isolated in this cold, barren landscape, with all his friends turned into digital memories. Small pieces of Sonic iconography lit at the map, giving brief moments of the gameplay we're used to, and allowing Sonic to be himself again, but only in snippets. Then you dive into literal memories to do a regular Sonic stage, collecting stars, I think, until you eventually face the big boss. This might be a strikingly melancholic reflection on the state of decay of the Sonic franchise, and the inevitability of aging beyond your prime, and coming to terms with it, all eventually drawing former enemies together in camaraderie. Or do you think it's just about going fast? Hi-Fi Rush was a really interesting idea with a good-looking world and an addictive central mechanic, but it's another one I just bounced off after a couple of hours. It's a beat-em-up platformer hybrid that sees you adventuring through a cartoon future in which an evil corporation is up to evil shenanigans, but you get an iPod stuck in your chest, Tony Stark style, meaning you perceive the world as moving in time to the music. So your attacks are more powerful if you strike, block and move in rhythm, which is outstanding fun in the first couple of hours, but inevitably becomes more frustrating when they have to ramp up the difficulty, because that's how games work. A half-successful experiment then, I suppose. It looks pretty gorgeous though, could do with more games that look like this. I got over my enormous patch issues and got properly stuck into RoboCop Rogue City this year, which I have to admit is a very good time indeed. The shooting is super satisfying, and I love that it's broken up with silly side quests about daft shit like someone filming an advert for Sunblock or whatever. I'll definitely get more of this done in the new year. Super hot mind control delete. So hard. Too hard. Who knew that the power to stop time would be so absolutely fucking useless? Warhammer 40,000 Rogue Trader. So slow. Too slow. So boring. Waited 2 hours for it to get good, but I've literally got meals to make and hoovering to do. I'm an adult human being. Metal Slug Tactics somehow managed to strip Metal Slug of all its charm and uniqueness. It's a great idea in theory, but it's less XCOM and more Into the Breach, in the sense that each stage is less a tactical battle and more a puzzle with a particular solution, outside of which practically no other approach is valid. That makes it slow, repetitious and frustrating, whereas the original Metal Slug games only demonstrated 2 of those 3 traits. For some reason over the summer I got really into the idea of playing pinball in video game form. It's possible this comes from the fact that real pinball tables are almost impossible to find anywhere now. It really has been an awful decline for their popularity. You used to get one in almost any bar you went into, just like the quiz machines, but now it's a rarity and it's something you're more likely to find only in those awesome retro arcade places. So while I was browsing the PS1 catalogue, I noticed just how many of the most loaded releases were some form of pinball, and I wanted to go. So I downloaded Pinball FX3, which is kind of all the things you always wanted pinball to be, but that it never could be because of the restrictions of the physical mechanics of the table. Pinball FX is smart because it understands what people love, that frantic, quickfire, high score chasing, one more go quality, but also provides more rewards in the form of effects and animations you would never have seen on a real table. Captain America isn't going to come to life and start fighting with Iron Man when you're in the pub. Well, not unless you've had way too much. But here all that can happen. They can change the layout, add elements, mess with the lighting and everything, and just generally make the whole experience more immersive and visually impressive. And that makes this maybe the ultimate version of video pinball. Trials Fusion I picked up on physical disc, yes, physical media. And I found myself entirely addicted for about a week as I tried to perfect each stage. It's a shame that game came out in such a terrible era of games when it was all about being online and nickel and diming everyone out of content that should have been in there from the start, because it literally feels unfinished without all that stuff. But it's still that irresistible Trials formula for the most part, which I've always been a sucker for. And, as has been the case for the last 2 years now, I spend far too much of my free time playing Power Wash Simulator.